Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you could join us for this segment. We have Mr. Frank Peters here from the Floral City Historical Society and Heritage Council, and he's going to take us in and give us a little glimpse of the Duval House. This was a house that was built in Floral City before Floral City was Floral City in the 1860s. It's one of the oldest homes and building structures still left in Citrus County. So come on with us and let's let him take us inside and see.
Now, you've never been in here before,
no,
right?
No, sir. This is amazing.
All right. It was typical of houses of this era to have a detached kitchen. The purpose of that was fire safety. You had a large wood-burning stove that would be located in the kitchen. This structure, the kitchen and the house, is all wood frame. Right. So if you had a fire start in the kitchen, which it most likely would start, then you would probably lose the house. So originally the kitchen we're standing in would have been set off probably maybe 20 yards away to the south of here. Sometime during the life of the house, the kitchen was moved forward and attached. We don't know when that happened. It was before the Metzes arrived. And records back then were very, very scarce and very sparse.
Yeah, you can see the outside still on. You can, like, they just pushed it right over.
Right, that's the lap siding that was originally the outside of the house. Mm-hmm. You can also look over here on this interior paneling, and this is original to the house. You'll notice that when this was painted, that this didn't get painted.
Right. Because
this was the outside wall of the kitchen when it was separated from the house. Right. This is what we call a reveal, when we're taking out the modern materials and it reveals the original construction, which helps tell the history of the house.
That's very fascinating.
It's one of the most exciting aspects of restoration.
I bet it's like a treasure hunt.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know what you're going to find. And then the bricks and stuff were put up afterwards, obviously?
Right. This was done by the Mets. The porch that's on the front was not there. That was a modern addition by the Mets sometime during their time of occupancy in the house. This house is known as a 2/2, which means it's 2 rooms over 2. 2 downstairs, 2 upstairs on the second floor. This was all covered in drywall, including the ceiling. It had a drop ceiling in here. This was removed about a year ago, and we don't know when it was painted green, but if you look at the boards, you'll notice different widths of the board. That was common. Didn't mean that they were trying to do something, architecturally. It's just that that was the lumber they had available at the time. Has 4 fireplaces, 2 downstairs, 2 upstairs. These again were covered by drywall, modern paneling. When we took the drywall off, then it revealed what we see here. We have a better idea of the fireplace and what the interior of the room would have looked like before the drywall was put up. What you're looking at now in this room is the original paneling of the house. The ceiling had a drop ceiling. You can see the rim boards around here where the rafters were put in to hold the drop ceiling. Mm-hmm. Because there was a drop ceiling, it preserved this ceiling, and it has its original color to it. You had 3 generations living in these 2 rooms. 3 generations. If we look at this, we have a layout, a floor plan drawn by Bob Metz, who is still alive, and he's in his early 80s. And he drew what it looked like when he and the 2 other generations were living here in the house. He tells us that this table was the table he did his homework on. Oh my. His bed was located here. Before the bedroom addition was added, this was a window here. And he slept with his head at this, not on this cot, but with the bed at this end because of the breeze that would come through. Now remember, there was no air conditioning.
No air conditioning, yeah. In Florida, it gets pretty hot. Wow, that's crazy.
So we'll go upstairs and take a look at the upstairs, which is in its original, almost untouched condition. You have to let your eyes adjust a little bit to look back here. But what we have is what I call a Dogtrot here. You have a door that would close this off, but you have a door there that opens out onto the porch. This is the scene as you go through that door and you look to your left. This is what you would see. Here's Orange Avenue. There's a little brown house. Light bulb was just as we found it. We are not sure whether it's a true Edison light bulb, but it sure does look like one.
Yes, it does.
These upstairs rooms were used for storage. Now, I have not seen the television programs called Hoarding. I believe that's the title of them.
Yes.
Evidently, that's what we ran into here. And I don't mean hoarding in the sense that they were just trying to collect everything they could. I think it just was used as a storage area. All right, we have the photographs of what it looked like. There was a walkway from that door to this opening that was probably about this wide, and probably everything around it was up to here on me. I'm 6'1", so it was really jam full of stuff. All right, so the important thing for these rooms is they are original. Original floor, original interior walls, original ceiling. The bed is on loan to us. It would have been a bed that could have been used here, but it is not original to the house. So here's the entrance from the porch over here to this room. If you had these two rooms being occupied at the same time, and remember, there are no bathrooms here. It was an outside privy.
Ooh.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. So, for privacy's sake, we think that's why these two rooms had separate entrances again, because, you know, if it was used by family or business people, it just makes sense. Mm-hmm. This room has a paneling in here that the Metzes put in because they had family coming down from up north in the wintertime to get away from the cold, and this is the way they tried to weatherize this interior room to make it more comfortable. If you built a fire, you know, it would hold the warmth in and that sort of thing. This is original from the Metz era, that's original from the Metz era, this is original from the Metz era. But here's something that's really neat. This is not a fine antique. It's not worth a lot of money. But when I came into this room with all of the clutter, just everything, I could hardly see this bed, and I went over and examined it as much as I could see because it was full of stuff on the springs. And it looked like it was homemade, it looked like it was home built. So when we finally cleared everything out and I really got a chance to look at it, I said, yeah, it is. Bob Metz was over here one morning, and I brought him upstairs and I said, Bob, what can you tell me about this? That's my grandmother's bed. She had a problem with her hip and she couldn't get out of a bed this high, so my dad and my grandfather built this bed for her.
So she
Look
could
at the
get
arms.
out. Yeah.
Now, for the history of this house, and we are going to make sure that the Metzes are part of the history of the house when we begin to open it up.
Sure.
That's just one of the great pieces. That tells a story.
Yep. That does. That's amazing.
It talks about the closeness of the family. It talks about how the family had to make do. They couldn't go to Home Depot or Lowe's or the furniture store, that sort of thing. It just is a great part of the history. It really is.
This is fascinating.
Well,
And I don't think people today, you know, we live in such a fast society. We don't give credence to where we came from, and we don't take time to realize the beauty and the hard times and what people went through. You know, we all have it so easy today, and I think these are things that remind people to stop and slow down and remember what life's all about, you know. I would like to say thank you for coming and joining us today and getting to know Floral City a little bit more like we do. I'd also like to thank Mr. Frank Peters. He's of our Historical Society, and he is a wealth of information on preserving the history of Floral City for us and for the future. It's very important that we keep this and we keep the history up so kids know where they came from. And the adults know where they came from as well, and maybe where they're going. So ladies and gentlemen, please be sure to join us for the next show of Floral City. We're going to showcase a few of the businesses here and the merchants in Floral City. It's going to be a great show, and anytime you'd like, please come on out and enjoy Floral City.